Hey everybody, I'm Tom Zenner. I am in Orange County, John Wayne Airport. John Wayne Airport behind me. We got commercial flights that take off and land from over here. Many of you obviously have been there. Behind me, ACI Jet and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of private planes that zip in and out of here every single week. The who's flying in and out, literally. Athletes, business tycoons, VIPs, politicians, celebrities. This is really a gem in aviation, and it has an amazing story to tell. And it started, at least the part we want to talk about, is 7-8 years ago when ACI Jet launched and quickly became one of the greatest and highly regarded FBOs, number one actually in the entire nation. JSX arrives on the scene. Their corporate headquarters was here. We were here for the launch, their initial flights. It was such an exciting time. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the history of things that have gone on here and where things are headed, because there are some really exciting developments that we're going to keep you up to speed with right here on this channel. And guiding me on the journey today is the man who's been here from day one at ACI as a co-owner and the general manager. And of course, he was here when JSX launched as well. My good friend, Joe Daichendt. All right, Joe, I get excited every time I come to Orange County. I come to ACI, I see and feel the energy here. It brings me back about 8 years ago, almost exactly 8 years ago, when JSX came to ACI for the first time. Their corporate headquarters was here. It was an exciting time. We helped them launch with some big events, some cool things we were doing for them. But I'm looking back at those JSX planes. What's the relationship been like for JSX to be here at ACI over the last 8 years?
Yeah, I'll tell you, JSX has been an outstanding operator at the airport. As far as ACI, a great customer. But yeah, those initial days when we launched, there's so much excitement around it. I want to think back at that moment. Alex had maybe 4 or 5 airplanes. Today he's nipping 100 aircraft. And it, on the whole, is a great thing for Orange County. Now, it hasn't been a bit of a gauntlet for JSX.
Right.
But there's been a long series of folks who have fought for them, and today was a big day.
Yeah, so it was, back then, it was just cool. We kind of created that vibe, and you especially at ACI, where you felt something special was happening. You get on that JSX plane, now they're on the other side of ACI, and it's really been a lot of things happening with them over the span of eight years, including today, where we find out they're not gonna be exactly on ACI anymore. Is that correct?
That is true. Sad news. Even though there's been a lot of fight and effort to keep them at ACI, they will be vacating ACI. What we learned today is they'll be going over to Jay's. The Board of Supervisors of the County of Orange has heroically been fighting for JSX to get a home, and it seems that they found all the pieces to make the move now. So I think that's coming here in a matter of weeks, if not maybe even sooner. You
know, that's one of those pieces of news that probably slips under the radar for most people if you don't follow aviation news. I mean, when Alex Wilcox came here with JSX, it was so fun, it was so exciting, it was sexy at ACI Jet. Then they moved on the other side of ACI Jet, and now they're moving off of the property altogether. I mean, someone would say that just, why? It doesn't make a lot of sense. How did that happen?
Well, to your first point, we learned a little something. When we were mixing the customers that were flying privately and the customers that were flying JSX, we realized we needed 2 separate lobbies. So that came to be and was successful. Now, the most recent that's happened, I'm the minority owner in ACI, and unfortunately, my company's made a decision to set their head against JSX. I'd say unexplainable reasons, but there's a lot of explanations now.
Right, because it seemed like Alex Wilcox, JSX, great partners. They appreciated being here. Their corporate headquarters was here at a time. Was there one moment which led to some sort of friction where it would force them to not be on the property anymore?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is tied up in a lot of legal right now, so there's limited things I can say about it. But the attorneys for ACI viciously did attack JSX. I've said it to Alex, and I say it openly and publicly. I hope our company will pay attorney's fees and apologize to him one day because it's just bad behavior. It's bad for aviation. But yes, the majority partner did some things that he wasn't supposed to do. And the attorneys are now dealing with that.
Right. And I guess just, if you look at this objectively, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Like, why would you want to lose a partner like that provides the revenue, the exposure, the excitement, the goodwill in the community?
You're right, Tom. JSX, they They created this space. What Alex did is had the vision of fitting these ERJs down to 30 seats and then flying them short distances. And he found the niche and way to play and make this work through the FBOs and a high level of security, a high level of service, the iterations that he's going through. Not at all. As a landlord, I'd never want to lose JSX. If they're my tenant, I would never want to lose them. They're outstanding from a revenue. Every KPI as a business owner that you could think of, they exceed.
So that's a head scratcher. So has that led to some difficulties with the ownership group?
Joe, I've worked in the FBO business myself years ago when I was a young man. And your job is to optimize your revenue. In the airport, in their EIR document that put out the background statement, they had I think they listed 8 criteria for the project, or the program. And one of the criteria was to optimize the revenue generation of the county's asset at the airport. And that would be what would go forward, is both from the infrastructure plan and also for the RFPs that would then go out. So I'm guessing that's going to also be in the RFP, optimize the revenue generation. The airport gets a percentage of the revenue generation from the FBO based on the lease agreements and also the fuel sales and everything else that happens. That being the case, as you go forward in your response to the RFP, how can you not create a model where the corporate aircraft tend to be the highest revenue producing per square foot and per weight or tonnage on the aircraft? How can you not try to optimize your solution to fit the type of market that would yield the highest revenue generating asset solution, which would put you ahead of a lot of other bidders, possibly, in that regard? So it would be contra to both your internal interest and to what the airport's objectives are, or the county's objectives are, to have a subliminal revenue generating asset.
Yeah, that makes sense. So one of the things I'd jump back to is what happened 2 years ago with the Board of Supervisors. It's interesting because Supervisor Nelson at the time was given a response when someone came to the podium and said, hey, look, 95% of the customers are happy enough. You're just hearing from 5%. And his response is, he said, hey, it's just my opinion, but 100% of the customers that come to Orange County matter to me. And so one of the things that was very interesting is that we came out with a program that was going to provide a higher level of service to the smaller GA guys. 100 low lead fuel moving through piston aircraft is not very profitable in the FBO business. It is more like a community service piece. Right. We probably lose money. Yet, with the piston community, we pump 5 times the amount of fuel with the small guys that our predecessor did. And so the reason we did it is the right thing to do, is because I'm a GA guy myself. I can fly a jet. The vast majority of my time I'm flying a piston aircraft. So it's important that we take care of all of the customers. And I don't know how to say this better than you got to have a philosophy that you take care of the entire bridge. Because you can try to legislate it and regulate it and put rules on it, but at the end of the day, companies and people will always find a way around if they want to. And the last one thing I'll say about that bridge that's really important, right now we're experiencing, there's a massive pilot shortage. Massive. At John Wayne Airport, we have 2 flight schools that were almost run off this field 2 years ago. If Gary Sequeira and Michael Church were sitting here today, they would literally say that their survival, that the training market's survival at John Wayne Airport was due to ACI Jet. Had we not been prevailed, then our predecessor would have run them off the field. And so that's not a dollars and cents. That's a right and wrong decision, and it comes to the core of our company.
Oh, it's no secret, Tom. The ownership group is split between the majority and I'm the minority. And the majority, that owner wants me gone, is trying very, very hard to push me out of the company, in major part because I took a stand for JSX. I'll say in the court paperwork, the attorney for ACI literally said that I've done everything humanly possible to save JSX, and JSX is ACI's adversary. The words confuse me; they befuddle me. How do we have an adversary? In aviation, we're a strong bridge. We take care of it from the little pistons that are when you're learning to fly an airplane as a student pilot, all the way to when you're flying the big corporate jets or the big airliners. It's a community, it's a family. We got to take care of the whole bridge.
Joe, I think back in the days, the early days of the ACI here in Orange County, you were the face of it, man. It was kind of your vision. You were the person there. You had the ideas, and it kind of like met your energy. And you had that staff humming. It was such a unique, special place to be. I know maybe you've had to take a step back from that. So what's that been like for you? Something you created and had such a big footprint on, now not being able to oversee.
Yeah, there's two different lanes I've had here. On the ownership side, I'm the minority owner, and so myself and the majority owner came together at the beginning and decided that I'd be the general manager, and that's why people knew me as the face. They didn't know any other person or name. I hired probably greater than 95% of all the staff, handled a remodel in record time. We re-tenanted it. We did the approvals and fought for JSX originally to get them on the field. So there was a lot of 20-hour days for many weeks in a row to bring that to fruition.
Yeah. You look around here and all you see is opportunity, right? And you having a business mind that you do, being so embedded in the aviation industry, what do you think of the possibilities when you look at ACI, even with JSX leaving, the potential of what could grow here?
Well, Tom, I'm going to give a compliment to the team that we have. In my second year of leading this team, we already won the #1 FBO in the country in our second year. So now there's no roadmap for us to follow. What we're about to build is something that this country, this world's never seen. This is already the best FBO, but it's about to make a quantum leap even further. And I can't unleash all of it, but I would say, Tom, the proof is look at the history of rewards that led up to this moment.
Yeah.
The track record speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think everybody that lives around here thinking about what that potential is amazing. And with JSX leaving now away from ACI, it's unfortunate, but does it create an opportunity for maybe somebody else to step in there and provide maybe even more elevated brand of service?
There's definitely opportunities. I'd say let's sing the accolades of JSX. They bring tremendous value to this airport. They create a lot of jobs and naturals there. But one thing that people miss is the amount of economic impact a customer on JSX has. It's not your average customer. The amount of revenue that they spend in the surrounding community, if you look at the economic impact studies, it's massive. So I'm glad that they're staying, but if there's more competitors that ultimately help out, raise the economy and the GDP of Orange County, we're all for a rising tide.
Right. And with the location of Orange County, boom, Vegas, boom, Scottsdale, boom, wine country, Cabo.
Absolutely.
There's just so many people that have the means to travel there, and they want to have that elevated experience that ACI is really the only one that can provide.
You're right. That FBO is a unique experience, but I will give credit. JSX has opened our minds to look at the hop-on jet service, the regional space different than I think most people ever have. And that has my mind moving as well.
All right, so where does this love of aviation, I know you're a businessman at heart, but now you've combined them. Where did it come from? Did you grow up wanting to become an astronaut, a pilot? Were you always in love with airplanes?
In high school, I so desperately wanted to join the Air Force, Tom. I had a tough conversation with my father, but I had a love and a passion for all things that fly. Sadly, I didn't get the first chance to fly till I was 29.
Okay.
But from that moment, I haven't let go of it. I've got 3,500 hours of pilot in command. I fly a single pilot turbine jets by myself. I very much enjoy it. I'm a passionate aviator. I think these things are magical time machines that defy gravity, that takes us all kinds of special places.
And then when you combine what you think you might be able to do, just commercially on the business side, the new opportunities you can create here, where does your mind go then?
Now that I can speak to. The GDP of this entire county is deeply affected to how this airport operates. And my history uniquely lends. I think my head more like an economist these days, having the real estate, the high tech, and now the aviation knowledge. And what makes Orange County tick and what makes Orange County so special, that's all sitting and it's ready to go to that next level, Tom. We are a phenomenal county. Very different than the rest of California. And we're proud to say that. But also this airport is very different. It's an immense amount of traffic in a very small space, all done very safely. It's an impressive feat.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, you've done such a great job of just rallying support, getting people excited. I remember coming out here for an event not far from here, and you had the mayors of almost every single city in Orange County business executives, county commissioners, everybody was here, and they all seemed to be united in the fact that this is a very important part of the county. I remember that, and they were very enthusiastic. I come from LA, a little bit different vibe down there, right? But I was really struck by how everybody's really passionate about what's going on here.
You're right. And at that time, 2 years ago, there was a myth going around that the politicians did not like JSX, that somehow JSX was a problem that needed to be pushed out of our county. Now, 2 years ago, what we found is every politician from one end of the county to the other was singing JSX's praises. We were trying to find where the opposition was. Turns out, Tom, there is none.
And that's what you've kind of found out by having to do what you've had to do the last 5 or 6 years as you fight for what you're trying to accomplish with ACI.
And that the contrast will show more and more what's happened to fight for JSX and what ACI did to attack JSX. It's black and white, and that issue needs to be reconciled.
All right, I think back to the early days, ACI. All right, then a year later, JSX comes there. It's exciting, it's fresh, it's VIP, it's electric, it's sexy. Can we take it to a whole new level over there now in 2025? Is the opportunity to even grow on that there?
I think 2025 is the year. The court cases, as everyone knows, have been a civil action. They can take years. It's an unfortunate part of California. Justice delayed, justice denied. But it's been a long journey, and I think 2025 is the year that this changes. If not, then we'll continue next year. But we're not going to let go of the vision. It will get implemented. It was once the best FBO. Intrinsically, it's still there. We'll get it right back.